Let's talk a little bit about Jonathan Majors.
Yes.
So we talked before the show, and I believe that we want to we do not want to get into speculating about who did what.
Right. Yeah.
We were not there. We do not know either party, and it just seems mildly inappropriate.
Right. Yeah. And I think we kind of learned our lesson from Justin Roiland to wait
Yep.
until we get all the info.
Well, while the bandwagon is crowded, you don't necessarily want to jump onto it.
Right. Yeah.
So what happened is that at some point on the weekend, there some sort of seemingly physical thing happened between Jonathan Majors and his girlfriend.
Hmm.
It seemed he was arrested, which, in a lot of people's minds, that's an immediate guilty verdict. By the way, that's a great way to either to get out of jury duty is just go, yeah, I assume that all accused people are guilty because the cops don't make mistakes.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was going to do when I got called for jury duty.
But what it seems like is that arrest may have just been a matter of domestic dispute law. Like you just automatically arrest somebody if there is a seemingly credible crime around that, just as like a means of protecting people.
Yeah, and and the way the laws are, and I would say probably the majority of jurisdictions, it's the man that's going to get arrested.
Yep. Now, what has happened that's interesting since then is that Jonathan Major's lawyer uh, did say that there was exonerating evidence that we haven't seen yet, and apparently the girlfriend sent some texts out that seems to indicate that she didn't want the arrest to happen, that she was just having in a bad state. Actually went to the hospital for like it seems like emotional issues.
Mm.
Yeah. So the lawyer Jonathan Major's lawyer had been talking about two written statements that exonerated John, and it seems like these are these two text messages.
Yeah, and apparently there's video evidence that exonerates him, which I think that was the evidence you just mentioned earlier. Sorry.
No, and it's strange that that hasn't gotten out. It may not, just depending on how
Yeah,
things go.
yeah, and yeah, of course the way just the way investigations are. Yeah, they don't want to
Yep,
release that stuff to the public.
yep. So it's all very fuzzy.
Hmm.
So again, like we don't want to go into like we don't want to speculate too much about what happened. Now, what clearly has happened though is it has already had an impact on Major's career
Hmm.
because he had been doing a series of ads for the Army, and immediately, like as soon as there was before the arrest even happened, and there was talk of it,
Hmm.
it was suddenly there was a sudden immediate yank from the Army.
Yeah, and from what I understand, they said they're just pulling them temporarily, waiting for the process to play itself out and see what
Mm.
happens. They could very easily bring those ads back.
Yep, because it, uh, people were joking, oh, leave it to the Army to make snap decisions.
Yeah.
But also, if we're honest, like Jonathan Majors is less important to the Army than he is for Creed or Marvel, because for an Army commercial, honestly, you just get somebody with a commanding voice to talk about inspiration or duty or things like that, and you're
Hmm.
golden.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had Gary Sinise do it for a while.
Hmm.
So, because he's very if you see Forrest Gump, he was Lieutenant Dan, and that's
Okay.
yeah, he's been very active with like USO and you know, all that. But yeah, he's especially important to Marvel because he's of course playing Kang, and they've been really hyping him up the last couple of years, and getting him ready to play. Getting ready. With Kang Dynasty, with the Avengers movies. So
the
it's
the new Thanos replacement,
yeah,
which that leads us to what we really want to speculate about, because long knives have come out for him on Twitter since then.
yeah, which usually tends to happen with cases like this. It happened with Justin Roiland,
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, yeah, where people who worked with him in the past are making unsubstantiated allegations against him.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, it's like, okay, well, where's your proof of this? Oh, he's this, he's that. Like,
Yep.
you know,
Uh,
yeah.
Changa says, I hope he's proven innocent. I don't care about Marvel, but I really liked him in Creed 3. Now, what's interesting now that you mentioned that is, oh, I should say, speaking of boxing, now how Disney and Sony, for that matter, respond to this, or excuse me, not Sony, Amazon, I guess, responds to this via their MGM subsidiary,
Yeah,
which is a weird sentence to say, but here we are.
yeah.
Because the victim informed police she was assaulted. Police said the woman was taken to a hospital with complaints of minor head and neck injuries, which is why the arrest happened. So clearly something happened, assuming that that report is true.
Yeah, and of course, um, this the flip side of this is, if this is a for I'm trying to find the right word. Well, toxic relationship. Let's just say, put it that way.
Yeah, this doesn't necessarily seem like the most stable relationship.
Yeah, and usually in relationships like this, where one person is on the receiving end of the other, um, they will often kind of like make excuses for them, and
Yeah.
they'll be like, well, no, they're not really a bad person. They just had this, and
Yep.
you know
But, yep. But what's clear is that something physical happened. Now that could range anything from a crime committed to self-inflicted wounds because of emotional instability,
yeah,
etc.
yeah.
But yeah, I have noticed, and I was actually mildly surprised that we haven't heard anything from Disney about this that I'm aware of.
No, they're keeping quiet, and it could very well be that they learned their lesson from Johnny Depp, and they don't want to jump to conclusions.
And James Gunn, for that matter,
And James Gunn, yeah.
because this would be the most damaging thing they had done to the Marvel Universe since firing James Gunn. Because from
Hmm.
what I have heard and what I recall at the time, the plan for after Thanos was to go galactic and have Gunn be the architect of that.
Hmm. Yep.
And this whole multiverse thing was kind of, ah, crap, what's plan B?
Yeah. And let's get a bunch of Rick and Morty writers to do it.
I do wonder if that was part of the plan A. To like, would Gunn have brought in the same writing team?
Mm.
Well, would he have even had the choice if he was architecting things?
Good question.
But so this is going to be interesting to watch. Again, Disney has not made a snap judgment. MGM has not made a snap judgment. I think that alone makes me think that some sort of truth will out that isn't too damaging to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it could very well be that they know something that we don't.
Unfortunately, this is now kind of a stain on his career because you know that a certain percentage of people heard that never looked past the initial headline, and in their minds, oh, uh, he beat his girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it will take a lot of facts to dissuade them.
Hmm.
Which, if the police decide to release him, and uh, you know, they conclude there's not enough to charge with, they won't care. So this is more bad news that not that the the studios he's employed with didn't need.
Yeah. Yeah. And although I do want to say kind of real quick, I don't think this is another Ezra Miller situation. Hopefully,
Yeah, that is interesting when you think about it. As much people came out of the woodwork, as far as I'm aware, I haven't heard of anybody coming out of the woodwork saying them too.
yeah, yeah, I don't either.
It's like the most that the accusations I've heard have been, this guy is hard to work with. I do not like this guy, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, well, Hollywood is littered with actors and actresses who are difficult to work with, quote unquote.
Yep. So, yeah, that might have been our mildest mild take ever.
Yeah.
We are firmly riding this fence right down the middle
Yes.
because it's still a developing story, and darn it, we're trying to be responsible. This is probably why we have 64 subscribers instead of 64,000. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't. Yeah, we don't. We don't fan the flames. We don't. We don't dogpile. We try to be fair and objective, and sometimes that's not always the popular way to do it.
nope. So who knows? By next week, we might have an update on this.
Yeah.
Though speaking of a bad week for certain people at Disney,
Yes.
so